So let's talk about GameStop. It is no secret that this video games retail chain has been on a downwards trend when it comes to revenue, when it comes to its relevancy. Just all around, things are looking bad for GameStop. They have closed down a bunch of stores, laid off a lot of people, and so they have recently made a move in an attempt to revitalize their brand, their business. And before we get to that, though, let's talk about the history of GameStop's downwards trend, which can be traced as far back as March 2017. Here's an article from Investor Place with a headline that reads, GameStop closing 150 stores in 2017. So around this time, digital games were on the rise, and GameStop, specializing in sort of physical sales, the company has just been negatively affected by this rising trend, and GameStop has been unable to keep up with the times. And in the next year and a half or so, GameStop began to show more signs of deterioration, with a report from November 2018 stating that GameStop has reported a third quarter loss of $488.6 million, with many speculating that digital sales might be a major contributor to this. Next up, fast forward to January 29th, 2019, and here's a headline from Variety that reads, GameStop just gave up on trying to sell the company. So roughly around this time, there were talks of a buyout that didn't end up panning out. That resulted in GameStop's stocks plunging to its lowest point since 2005 after sales plans abandoned, according to this article by WCCF Tech. And they actually took a screenshot of this happening. You can see stocks are holding steady and then a giant sort of plunge. And right here is a statement from GameStop discussing the buyout and how that didn't pan out. This reads, in June 2018, GameStop's board, together with outside financial and legal advisors, commenced a review of a wide range of alternatives to enhance shareholder value. The board undertook a comprehensive review process, including discussions with third parties regarding a potential sale of the company. GameStop's board has now terminated efforts to pursue a sale of the company due to the lack of available financing on terms that would be commercially acceptable to a prospective acquirer. So yeah, investors certainly didn't like this, given that the outlook for GameStop looked grim in terms of the long-term future, and that's why you are seeing here that a lot of investors and a lot of stockholders pulled out. Next up, here's an article from April 2019, so a couple months after that whole incident. The headline here reads, GameStop posts $673 million full year loss. So yeah, this downwards trend continued. They kept posting losses, and this was pretty indicative of a business that just wasn't in a good place. Fast forward 2 months to June 2019, and here's a report by CNBC that noted that GameStop stock plunges nearly 30% as sales fall short of estimates and its dividend is eliminated. Then that takes us to an article from the following day by Yahoo Finance. The headline reads, why GameStop stock plummeted 40%. So that number that was initially reported to be 30%, the stock plunging was actually closer to 40% by the following day. So more rough tidings there. Then fast forward again 2 months, and here we have a report from news outlet Kotaku that relay that GameStop has laid off dozens of regional managers as it searches for a future. So at this point, we weren't just seeing losses in terms of financial guidance. We were also seeing that GameStop just wasn't able to keep people employed at the level that they've been doing it in the past. So this is par for the course for any company that isn't performing well financially. They just can't keep all of these people employed, and thus begins the layoffs. And then more layoffs on August 20th, 2019, when it was reported that GameStop laid off over 100 people, including nearly half of Game Informer's staff. Game Informer, for those who don't know, is a subsidiary of GameStop, and a whole bunch of people from that outlet were let go. And then here's a report from IGN stating that the number is actually closer to over 120 layoffs. And this reads, this represents 14% of the company's headquarters associate. So this was a pretty dire situation for GameStop. If it wasn't clear before that GameStop was in pretty bad shape, it sure as hell became clear in August 2019. Then we have an article from Polygon. This was published on September 2019, and more closures of GameStop stores. The headline reads, GameStop closing 200 stores following another quarter of dismal sales. So this continuous trend of losing money quarter over quarter, shutting down stores and laying off people. That finally brings us to this year, 2020, when we began to hear rumblings of GameStop working on redesigns for their store, them trying to come up with ways to bolster their business. Here's a report from IGN with a headline that reads, GameStop store redesign leaked. IGN can confirm that this is one of the planned store redesigns, and you can actually see a video of that right here posted on Facebook. And it just has a different design that's more, I guess, minimalistic with more muted colors. And we'll talk about the store redesigns that GameStop has in mind a bit later. For now, though, let's move forward to February 28th, 2020, when more layoffs ensued with Polygon reporting here, GameStop lays off longtime district managers and company cut costs again as more store closures are expected. So that's about the extent of GameStop's rough history throughout the past 2 to 3 years, which finally brings us to the news that I really want to get to today. So y'all remember Reggie Fils-Aime, right? He was the former president of Nintendo of America. He retired back in February 21st, 2019, and he was replaced by none other than Doug Bowser. And yes, Bowser is his real name. And since then, he's kind of been like going to colleges and teaching or doing talks there and doing various presentations and the like. He's kind of been low-key in the limelight when it comes to the games industry. But that all changes with GameStop putting him in the board of directors in their attempt to save what is very much a dying company. The headline of this Verge article reads, former Nintendo boss Reggie Fils-Aime joins GameStop's board of directors at a time when GameStop needs change. This was a report from March 9th, 2020, so a couple days ago. And Reggie confirmed this on his Twitter with a tweet that reads, the gaming industry needs a healthy and vibrant GameStop. I look forward to being a part of GameStop Corporation board and helping to make this happen. Linked to the tweet is the following press release in which GameStop on their official website detailed Reggie's appointment as a member of the board of directors and what that means for the future of GameStop. So this statement reads as follows. GameStop Corporation today announced it has appointed 3 new independent members to its board of directors. Joining the company's board are Reginald Reggie Fils-Aime, William Bill Simon, and James J.K. Szymanczyk. Mr. Simon and Mr. Szymanczyk's appointment are effective immediately. Mr. Fils-Aime's appointment will be effective April 20th, 2020. GameStop's board also announced a number of corporate governance enhancements, implementing new guidelines for board tenure and committee refreshment, also effective immediately. The appointments of Mr. Fils-Aime, Simon, and Szymanczyk to the GameStop board are the result of a comprehensive search process by the board of directors and involving shareholder input. From there, the press release talks about certain members of the board who will not be returning, and then a GameStop higher-up talked about their future goals, stating, looking ahead, we are excited about the progress our new leadership's team has made to date. We are confident they will continue to accelerate the company's turnaround and transformation to drive shareholder value as they pursue opportunities to create meaningful entertainment experiences for our customers and enhance partnerships with gaming publishers and console and PC developers. And then GameStop CEO George Sherman spoke to that effect, stating, the board refreshment and governance enhancements announced today represent an important milestone in GameStop's transformation as we continue to evolve the company's business strategy for long-term success. We are pleased to welcome Reggie, Bill, and JK to the board. They are each highly qualified and bring significant relevant experience to our turnaround. We look forward to immediately benefiting from their expertise and perspectives as we navigate the evolving gaming and retail environments, execute on our strategic initiatives, and prepare the company to maximize value creation associated with the next generation of console launches later this year. The word transformation kept coming up, which suggests that GameStop is very much planning to do a major overhaul to its business model, to its stores, etc. And Reggie is among the people they brought in to help in that endeavor. Reggie certainly does have a lot of experience, given that he was CEO of Nintendo of America, and I imagine that he could certainly offer some interesting insight in regards to where the future of gaming is headed and how GameStop needs to adapt in order to maintain a viable business, one that people will be attracted to. Because right now, there's just less and less reason to go to GameStop when, digital marketplaces are becoming more prominent. It'll be interesting to see the kinds of changes that will result from this, especially with Reggie's appointment, his name being among the biggest, if not the biggest one, to make its way into GameStop's board of directors now. And Reggie certainly seems to believe that GameStop is an important aspect to the games industry, the brick and mortar retail chain for video games. And hey, if they can find a way to make GameStop work, if they can overhaul it in such a way that people will feel enticed to go to GameStop and buy games there, then all the better for them. I used to go to GameStop a lot back in the day, but admittedly, I've kind of fallen out of that, and I feel like, I don't know, if I do go to a game store, I want to go to one of the smaller shops and support local business. But we're seeing glimpses of how GameStop plans to save itself, as IGN put it here in their article, via some of the store overhauls that they're working on. And they're not just having one store layout now, they're working on multiple types of stores that they intend to launch. They're still testing them out and seeing how viable they are, but IGN detailed right here how they have 4 concepts in mind right now in testing. The first one is called GameStop 2.0. The description for that is the foundational new GameStop 2.0 store concept dramatically cleans up the traditional GameStop layout and adds new community spaces, cleaner, more accessible retail spaces joined by couch co-op gaming on large TVs, a new hands-on accessories wall, tabletop gaming, and up to a dozen gaming bays where visitors can sit down to play games together on PC, Xbox One, PS4, or Nintendo Switch. So GameStop 2.0 intends to add a communal element to those stores so that people feel enticed to go to their local GameStop and, see their friends and play games with them, tabletop, whatever it is, and just, I guess, create sort of a community around their stores, and that might encourage people to keep stopping by. Interesting strategy there. Next up, we have GameStop Social. The description reads, GameStop Social features 2 couch co-op gaming setups and 36 gaming bays where visitors can sit down to play games together on PC, Xbox One, PS4, or Nintendo Switch. GameStop Social is designed for watch parties, esports tournaments, coding classes, vacation camps, birthday parties, and more. So it sounds like a mix of a PC bang, but with consoles, and like this hangout spot where you can host these kinds of events to just hang out, relax, and play games or watch gaming events happen live. Next up, we have GameStop Retro, which is described as a new store concept built on the foundation of GameStop 2.0. GameStop Retro is specifically designed to collect the best library of pre-owned games from the Tulsa area. Displays of the best modern games are supported by hundreds of classic games and consoles, as well as 4 gaming bays that feature CRT televisions and a wide variety of old-school gaming consoles. I might actually go to a GameStop Retro if they handle this correctly. Retro games are kind of nostalgic to me and are ones that I want to explore more. And then finally, GameStop Pop. GameStop Pop was designed with the hardcore collector in mind. There are still games and couch co-op gaming, but the shelves are filled with exclusive gaming collectibles, apparel, and accessories. So this is less about the actual games and more about all the merchandise, I suppose, surrounding those games. And that's what GameStop Pop is going to focus on. So those are the 4 big ones that GameStop is testing out as far as store concepts go. And these are just some of the ideas, I'm sure, for how GameStop intends to overhaul itself. And no doubt that Reggie will contribute ideas himself and see if he can find a way to save this dying business. They do seem to be taking drastic measures now. I do feel like this is coming way too late, but I guess better late than never. But whether these ideas will be enough, that's a whole different matter that only time will tell. But generally speaking, the name Reggie Fils-Aime, it carries a lot of weight. People know who Reggie is, and he's seen his fair share of successes in the games industry and his handful of failures too. But overall, I think people are rooting for Reggie to be able to, fix GameStop, pave a road for its future. As things are going now, with how fast GameStop is flopping, with how fast they're losing employees, stores, money, it doesn't seem like they have long. Time is of the essence, and GameStop does need to enact whatever overhauls they have in mind, and they need to implement whatever advice folks like Reggie has to offer as quickly as possible, get things kick-started, and hope that people reciprocate. As we wait to see how all of this develops, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Reggie Fils-Aime being brought into the board of directors, and whether you think this is the jolt that GameStop needs to revitalize itself and ultimately save itself. Drop a comment below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.